Good morning, everybody. Today we are going live. I'm going to be doing a human design reading for 𝐏𝗥𝗢𝗘𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗦. She is on Instagram as Lil Bit of Fit. She's going to be joining me any moment now. But if you're unfamiliar with human design or you're not sure what this is like a blueprint of who you are the moment you were born, actually before you were born, the moment your soul embedded into your body while you were in the womb. So this is a blueprint of who you truly are before all the conditioning. So here comes Katie. And did it work? Okay, Katie, I'm not sure. Oh, there she is.
Good morning.
Good morning, Katie. I'm so glad this worked out.
Oh, perfect. It always works out. Everything always works out.
Totally. Yeah. So I'm doing a human design reading for you today. I'm super excited to do this for you.
I'm pumped. I've wanted someone to actually read my chart for some time. I manifested you. I'm going to put that there right now. I totally manifested this.
Perfect. Well, we'll be talking quite a bit about manifesting. So that's so fun that you bring that up. So how much do you already know about human design?
So I discovered human design, I'd say probably, I'm thinking back maybe like 2018. So I've dabbled with it, done my own research because I'm always seeking to better understand myself. Like I find it brings so much peace and just more abundance into my life. Trying to figure it out, like, why do I think the way that I do? Why do I behave the way that I do? Like, why am I always in get shit done mode, like all the time? Like, am I crazy? Or, it's just the way that I'm wired. So it's been a few years and human design's pretty intricate. And I mean, I know enough, I'd say maybe to be dangerous, or have an understanding of it. But it's really nice to hear somebody else's perspective.
Yeah. Totally. So it kind of makes me laugh what you're saying about like, why am I always in get shit done mode? Because we'll be talking more towards like the second half about a lot of these life themes you have. And if I were to just like say one thing about you and move on and that's it, I would say your biggest theme in life is that you're here to be a teacher and to show us how to do things, and you know how to get stuff done.
Oh, I do.
That's all over your chart.
Fantastic. Totally makes. And it did. It really brings peace. So I tell anybody, out there that wants to learn more about themselves, like human design is incredible. Like everything just clicks, down to like how you're supposed to sleep, eat, why you think the way you do, why you vibe with certain kinds of people, why you don't. Like it just brings peace of mind. So I suggest anybody like look it up, seek other people, like yourself to read your chart, and it seriously will change your life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's so helpful for getting along with other people and understanding, why is this person behaving this way? And then you can actually learn how to communicate with them better. And it just makes everything so much easier, in my opinion.
Oh, it does. In all relationships, and I work in a very, like public service industry, healthcare, coaching, teaching, all different kinds of things. And it really does help you understand people, how to communicate with them more effective, like down to my clients, down to patients that I work with in radiology. I've worked in radiology and as a nutritionist for 17 years. It does. It makes your life so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's just jump right in. We're going to start with your energy type, and everybody has a different energy type, and this is how you exchange energy with the world and also how you should be using your own energy best. So sometimes people think the energy type is like your personality type, but it's really not. That's going to come up later. This is really just all about energy. So you are a manifesting generator, and so am I. So this is kind of fun to be able to talk about that. But a manifesting generator is somebody who creates their own energy. So not all of the different energy types can do that. Some people actually can't create their own energy, and they need to have energy from other people like you. So your job as a human being in the collective on this planet is to create energy. And the way that you do that is by doing things that light you up. and by not doing things that you don't want to do. So you're one of the lucky people, because really when it comes down to it, your most important job here is to have a lot of fun and love what you're doing.
Then I always say I don't do rules. I do what feels right. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always make sense, but it always works out in my favor.
Yes. Yeah. And it works out in everybody else's favor too when you do that. Even if they initially think that you're doing something wrong or they don't like what you're doing, truly, if you are doing things that light you up, you create so much energy. It bubbles up inside and it spills out, and then it energizes other people, whether they're right near you or not. It's kind of like it's just energizing the whole collective or helping to raise the vibration of the planet. So some conditioning that you would want to look back on for yourself that may or may not have happened. Think back to your childhood or school or anything that anytime you've been conditioned, and notice if you've been praised for doing stuff that you don't want to do, like even chores.
Yeah. So I was raised on a farm. I'm an Indiana farm girl. Very traditional parents. They were very strict with me. Be the good girl, do what you're told. I'm very grateful for the way that I was raised, but I know now at 40, like the trauma and the conditioning that I was exposed to when I was younger, like I grew up a people pleaser. I grew up an achiever. Like you achieve things and you do things, to deserve praise and love. You look a certain way, you're going to get attention. Like, you always have to be doing something to get something in return. Or, like doing chores, just like you said, I didn't want to do something, but do it anyways because I naturally wanted to be a people pleaser. And that turned into a lot of frustration. And I know just with trouble, like in all different kinds of relationships, when I was forced to do something or go somewhere or stay somewhere later than I wanted to, I get very angry and frustrated. And then I understand now why that happens.
Yeah. And you just said that word frustrated. For a manifesting generator, the word frustration or frustrated should be like a red flag. Anytime you feel frustration or say that word, that means you're out of alignment. So all the different energy types have kind of a different, it's called the not self theme. It's how you know you are not living your design. So if you personally feel frustration, like ding, 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 you need to change course, something's not working. Yeah. So that's great. You already noticed that about yourself. And it can be tricky because, obviously there's benefits in having, being a hard worker, doing things, whether it's hard or easy, those are all benefits. But if you did receive a lot of praise or kind of get yourself into that mode of doing stuff that you don't want to do just because you think that you should or because it will please people, that does not work for a manifesting generator. And it actually doesn't work for many different parts of your chart more than that. And so this is good. You're kind of stepping into that ability to do what you think is right and do what you want to do.
And like I said, it's hard because you're torn between, okay, I want to be a good person or a good girl, so I need to do X, Y, Z, when inside, I know for me, I'm a very intuitively led person. When I'm angry, I know that I have to change something, whether it's with my job, change hours, change my sleeping pattern. Like, I don't question things anymore like I used to, my younger self. Like if it feels good, no matter how freaking weird it may be, like I just do it. And I find that just life just flows so much easier to me. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And then when you feel satisfaction, that kind of word where you're just like, this feels so satisfying. That's a really big sign, another red flag again, that you are in alignment. You kind of want to look for the things in life that make you feel really satisfied.
Like coloring.
Yes.
Color I posted on here all the time. Like, it's so satisfying for me. And the other day I was helping a friend. I have a lot of energy, so I have to burn off a lot of energy or I can't sleep. I help them landscape like the front of their house because I love physical labor, and I'm like trimming bushes. I know people are staring at me like I'm insane, but I was like, this is so satisfying to me.
Yeah.
So
that's good. Yeah. So one other pretty huge aspect of being a manifesting generator is that you are a multifaceted person who has a lot of different skills, a lot of different interests, and it's a good idea for you to explore all the different things that you're drawn to, the different things you're attracted to. If something looks interesting or looks appealing to you, experiment with it, try it out. Don't ever think that you should try to fit into one box and only do one thing or be one way. Does that resonate with you?
Totally resonates. Like, I have so many different hats on my hat rack. When somebody asks me what I do for a living, I almost get anxiety because I'm like, I do so many different things and I love it. I just say I'm a multifaceted girl boss. Like, I do all of the things and I just own it. Because I am the sum of everything that I am. But I totally get it, because I used to think, you know, okay, I can only work in X-ray because that's my job, right? Like my, you know, normal person job, and felt like I put myself in a box, like I couldn't do other things. And now I'm just like, ooh, I'm drawn here. I want to do that. And I'm not afraid to try things because I know nothing's ever a failure. Like, I always learn something from it. So again, I don't think about things. Like, if I'm like, oh, I want to go on a random road trip today, I just pack up and leave, and like, things always work out.
Yep. Yeah. And as a manifesting generator, you're also the fastest of all the energy types, meaning you learn really quick and you cycle through things quickly, meaning you might pick up on a new skill or a new career or a new thing. You master it really fast. You go to the top. And then you might be ready to move on from that much sooner than somebody else, or you might just be ready to, you know, keep it going in the background, but add another thing on. Mm-hmm. So you might be looking at other people and think like, oh, why are people so slow? Or why can't people just get this? It's just because you move way, way, way faster than other people.
I actually, so maybe some other people can relate to this. For exactly what you're talking about, I had a negative, like a performance review. This was years and years and years ago, before I had any idea about human design or the law of attraction or anything like that. And they told me, they were like, you need to be more cognizant and nicer to people who are weaker than you. And I just was like, oh my gosh, like, it was a step back, because it was seen, I was told that I had a strong silence, and they were trying to put that in a nice way. But I was like, it did make me take a step back and be like, ooh, okay, I need to slow down and have more patience, because I do move and master things so fast, and I hate learning new things. Not that I hate learning new things, but I hate not knowing how to do it all like that. Like, I just want to do it. I hate training. So that totally makes sense. And maybe somebody out there can be like, oh, I do that too. It's okay. We're not crazy. It's just,
yeah. Somebody just wrote a comment that was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like me. I need to take this test. So yeah, just a side note, anybody who's watching this and you don't know what we're talking about, it's human design. So if you want a quick look up your chart, you would go to myhumandesign.com, or there's other websites too. Put in your birth information, and then you'll see this whole blueprint of basically who you are. So that's what we're talking about. But yeah, so I can see you are somebody who has already picked up on that you kind of move quickly through things. And later on, we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that you are a 2-4, but I'll just quick say the 2 aspect of you doesn't like to do training and learning, in the sense that you were just saying, like, you just want to know it.
Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I just know things. Like, I can't explain why I know things or how I know things, or like reading a room or reading people's energy. Like, I just know things and I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some people are weird, or they think that it's like they're making it up. Like, it's not. Everything is energy.
Yes. Yep. And that's right there in that 2 aspect, which I'll just save it for later. But you're right. You do just know things, and it will push people's buttons and they won't understand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one other important aspect here of your chart is that you have a sacral authority. So simply, that just means you should make all your decisions based off of your gut instincts, not off of emotions, not how something makes you feel, and also not from your head. So you shouldn't be thinking logically about choices that you want to make. And then not based off of like I know I said gut instincts, but more like gut intuition, not based off of like a survival instinct, like quick, let me decide immediately, that first hit of an instinct. You don't necessarily want to listen to that one super strong. You want to take time when you're making big decisions and think about, how does something make you feel like in your gut? Like, does it make you kind of contract or get like almost queasy, or you want to listen to the sounds you might make, or the words you might be kind of going, those sorts of sounds are, well, that means no for you. If you're leaning back, if you're contracting, if your gut gets tight, it's a no. If you go, oh, like immediately, or you kind of feel expansive, you lean in, you have like your eyes light up, you physically open up, that's probably a yes. And oftentimes it doesn't line up with what you think, and it doesn't line up with how you feel, because those aspects in your chart are, we're not going to talk about exactly what they mean, but those aren't places for you to be making decisions from.
And that was hard for me to wrap my mind around. Like I said, I'm very intuitive, but it's hard to shut your brain off, like your brain telling you, well, you need to do this, you know. But now I know better, like inside, like if it feels warm and I'm like, you know, you feel that, I just do it and I don't try to make sense of it. But if I feel like, ugh, even though, like, first say, like, I'm an introvert really by nature. I mean, I've learned to be like an ambivert, but at my core, I really am an introvert. Just like going out, like there's just times I'm just like, no, like I just want to stay inside. And I know now most of the time not to force myself to do that, because rarely do I have a good experience when that happens, or I feel bad the next day because I've put out too much energy. So it's hard to shut your mind off. So you're, I mean, point with like how you feel about making decisions physically.
Yeah. It is hard, and it's super interesting because our world has kind of leaned into making mental decisions or making decisions logically from your head, when you look at human design, only about 2 or 3% of people should be doing that. So most everybody else should be making either emotional or gut or instinctual decisions, and for you it's like really strong in the gut, what you lean into.
And it's the same thing with food. Like, I know I have to eat what I'm hungry for. I can't, like, I used to do it in the past, which is probably why I had a lot of gut issues and issues with food. I have to eat what I'm craving, and then I'm satisfied and I don't have any problems. So, especially because, you know, both of us, like, we talk about food and live a similar lifestyle, like, eat what you're hungry.
Yes. Yeah, and just on that note, I wanted to point out that your digestion it's called closed taste. So that means you do well eating the same things over and over, which makes me laugh because you talk about that all the time. Not everybody does, but you actually can thrive on repeating the same kinds of meals over and over. And you do really well eating when you want to eat. It doesn't have to be on a regimented schedule where it's always at the exact same time.
Yep, I eat when I'm hungry. And it may be, like, if I'm working a third shift, it may be at 3 a.m. I'll eat, and then I won't eat again until I just eat naturally when I'm hungry.
Yeah, so that's great. That's good that you've allowed yourself to do that, and it's totally in alignment for you. So next up, I want to talk about the profile, and you're a 2-4. This is where it's more about like your personality. So if you ever come across another 2-4, you guys would probably make great friends. You have a lot in common. So many people think that, you know, if 2 people are manifesting generators, that they're really similar. That's not really true about the personality. So it's way more about these numbers. So that everybody's got 2 numbers. Your first number is the 2. That's how you see yourself. So keep in mind, other people don't necessarily look at you and notice the 2 aspect of you. And then your second number is the 4, how other people see you. But you don't necessarily see the 4 in yourself clearly. So you are both of these numbers. It's just perceived differently whether you're looking at yourself or other people are. So as a 2, you are somebody who just knows things. What you were just talking about, you naturally are gifted at a lot of things, and it doesn't come from books, and it doesn't come from school, and it doesn't come from mentors, although all of those things might be things you do or you enjoy. But the way that you are so naturally skilled is because you just know things. And then there's another large aspect of being a 2 called being the hermit. It's not a bad thing, but you need to be alone. Not all the time, but you need to have alone time, because in that alone time, your natural gifts and the information that you just know comes in from your alone time. So if you're constantly being with people or constantly overexpending energy or over helping, you're not going to be receiving these like natural gifts and knowledge that you just inherently have.
Yeah,
so you want to make sure you give yourself the space and the time to be alone.
Yeah, like it's physically painful for me to be in large crowds for long periods of time. And it's hard in relationships. So anybody out there that feels that way, like you just really prefer being alone, and it's not that you don't like people or you don't love your loved ones. Like I know, I can only speak for myself. Like I have to be by myself the majority of the time. It brings more peace. I feel better physically, mentally, emotionally. And the early morning times, like that's my time when I receive like most of my messages. It's kind of my meditation time. It's when I channel. It's why like I'm weird and I get up super freaking early, but I feel better doing so. So everybody own it. If you're an early bird or like a hermit like me, it's okay.
Yes, yeah, it is. And you want to just remember really strong in your mind, when other people, even people that you're close to, when they think about you or see you, they don't see you that way. So they're not going to understand themselves that you need that space. And so you have to make it really clear to people and advocate for your needs. And like nobody's going to just assume that you need that time, and they might take offense to it or feel like, why don't you want to be around us? That's when you have to really speak up, because remember, you see yourself that way. They don't see it when they look at you.
Everything. And I've lost a lot of friends that just didn't quite understand that, you know, that were more social people and they got their energy from other people. And it's like, it's, you know, not a personal, don't take it personal. Like it's just, this is what I have to do to be my best self for you. So yeah, my closest friends understand. So it's okay if you have a small friend because you're just kind of different and kind of a lone wolf. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, and then the 4 aspect of you, this is how other people see you. So this is why it's difficult for people to get that you need your alone time. The 4 is like the people person, but it's not the everybody people person. It's like your people that you really align with are so important in your life, and you're super loyal to them. You receive a lot of opportunities, a lot of gifts from people that you have in your life, like a lot of things that you manifest, like you brought up that you manifested this reading.
Totally.
Well, it came from a person. So a lot of the things that come to you come from the people that you align with. And so you want to just know that people will look at you and think like, oh, Katie is like totally social and she loves everybody. And you do have that aspect to you, but they don't understand that you also have the alone time kind of natural gifted person aspect to you as well. And so it's really in alignment for you to only have the people that you truly want in your life. It's not in alignment for you to like everybody and to want to be friends with everyone. Does that align?
Totally get it. Because a lot of times I would be hard on myself. I would be like, I need to be more social. Like I need to be going out all the time and doing all of this stuff and meeting all these people. And I love meeting new people, but I like meeting new people on my time when I'm ready to meet new people. So it is, you can be really hard on yourself when you think that you need to be or do, you know, things that you don't really want to do when it's not really like in alignment with yourself.
Yes, exactly. So part of that will be just noticing for yourself for the rest of your life, but are there people that I'm holding on to because I think that I should, and then start to clear a lot of those people out in, you know, a kind, loving way. but clearing out more than just people, clearing out stuff, jobs, whatever, hobbies, thoughts, anything that's just no longer serving you. As a manifesting generator, it's important that you clear all of that out, because the universe will see that there's open spots for something new, and it will drop in new options. So that ties into your strategy. As a manifesting generator, your strategy in life is to respond to things. So you should see everything in life as like a buffet of options, and you're going to say yes or no to everything. Versus it's not in alignment for you to go out there and try really hard to seek out things and maybe send out like 10,000 flyers and tell everybody, come and see me, I want clients, or, you know, try really hard to go out there dating and date everybody that you can, you know, find. It's also not in alignment for you to just sit and wait for somebody to present you with an option, or just sit and wait for an invitation. That's not in alignment either. You are here to see all the options in life and say yes or no. So like, for example, I reached out and said, hey, Katie, do you want to do a reading? You said yes, or you could say no. Or maybe you have like a download that pops into your mind when it's early in the morning, you're receiving kind of downloads or inspiration, and you might have a thought out of nowhere that says, reach out to this friend. I know that would be an opportunity to reach out to somebody rather than doing it because you think that you should. Yeah. So responding to thoughts of yours, responding to anything that comes your way. And if it's not like a full-bodied hell yes, then it's for sure a no in your case.
And I keep a list in my notes page, or I have a scheduler book, like anything that keeps repeating in my mind, whether it's a thought, a place, a person, a phrase, a word. I know how to write all of those down, because eventually they make sense somehow. Like they're signs, you know, that, you know, like my guides are trying to show me things. And I may not understand why, but I'll write it down and it usually makes sense, you know, eventually. And dreams, I'd have these crazy dreams, and now I know, like, first thing in the morning, before I go to bed, I always tell myself, okay, I'm setting the intention to remember my dream in the morning. So in the morning, like before I get up, the first thing I do is I get on my notes page in my phone, and I'll write down, you know, just scratch notes like about my dream, you know, say my gratitude list, and say purging like old energy. So like I'm a Cancer, so I'm naturally like nostalgic, and I know now like I have to get rid of items, whether it's from past relationships, past friendships, anything old, anything that when I look at it, if it brings low, like I feel low vibe energy from it, I know that I have to get rid of it. So I've made that an intention, and I've wrote about like monthly intentions. I purge and clean constantly.
Good. Good. That is like totally in alignment for you for sure. So I was going to say one more thing about being a 2-4. One of your biggest themes in life is going to be mastering this ability to have your space, have your alone time, and be of service, or be social, or be helping people, or saying yes to people. So play around with that really for the rest of your life. That's why it's called, human design is kind of called the Great Life Experiment, because you're experimenting for the rest of your life, but you're going to be playing with this balance of needing to be alone, then seeing something to respond to, and knowing from your gut, not your emotions or your head, but from your gut, whether you should say yes or no. That's like your big life theme there.
And my best friends know, and I'll tell anyone, like from my clients, you know, to like close friends and family, like I'm a responder by nature when it comes to communication. So it's not that I'm not thinking of you, or that I just kind of write people off. I'm a responder. Like I have to have something to respond to. It's the same thing with dating. Like I don't typically ask people out. Like I wait on someone to ask me out, or if it feels aligned, I will. But 9 times out of 10, it's like, I need a yes, no answer. Yes, I want to go here. No, I don't. Just like you said.
Exactly. So it's also a good idea for you to tell the people in your life that if they're going to ask you a question, it needs to be yes or no, or this or that. Like, do you want to go to this restaurant or this one? They shouldn't be asking you questions like, where do you want to go to eat? Or where in the entire world would you like to travel? Do you want to go to this state or do you want to go to this one?
It brings anxiety. I get anxiety, but if you give me two different options, like it's easy for me. You know, and I'm a non-specific manifester. So like for me to have to write out very specific goals, you know, and I have like a partner list and all of that stuff, but it's more about how I feel. That I feel resistance around that. Like my stuff has to be very general.
Yes. Yes. And that's so funny. That's exactly what I was going to go into next, is that yes, you are a non-specific manifester. So anybody who is not sure what we're talking about, people can either be a specific manifester or non-specific. And I'm non-specific too, so I totally get this. When you're non-specific, it's not useful for you to think about exactly what you want. Like if you want a new house, you shouldn't be thinking about what color the house is and what street it's on and how many bedrooms it has and what size lot. None of those details are important, and it actually can cause anxiety or stress or kind of just shut you down from the whole thing. You want to focus on manifesting, just like you said, on what vibe, what energy does this thing bring me? How do I want to feel in the house, or how do I want to feel in the relationship? And leave it at that. It doesn't need to be like every single detail, like a lot of manifesting teachers will talk about that you should do that. Well, only a specific manifester should think about all those details.
Yeah, because it gives me anxiety. I'm like, don't ask me to write out like a 5-year goal list or stuff like that. I'm like, I know how I want to feel in 5 years.
Yeah, that's great. And then what's also super interesting is that you are an active manifester. So people can either be passive or active. You're active. So that means it's more in alignment for you to get involved with the excitement of what you're manifesting. Meaning you don't want to just set the manifestation and forget it and just let the universe have its way. You want to decide, like, this is what I'm going for. This is generally what I'm manifesting, and then get excited about it. Maybe you want to tell people about what you're manifesting, or make a really vague vision board. It doesn't have to be an exact vision board because you are non-specific, but having either a vision board or like a post-it note that reminds you of it, some kind of reminder for yourself, and then visualize, like maybe lay in bed or meditate and visualize about this vibe you're going for or the thing you're manifesting. But spend some activity, not controlling the how of how it happens, not going out there and forcing it to happen, but energetically thinking about it, talking about it, you know, drawing it, writing it. Those kinds of active activities, I guess, are going to be in alignment for you when it comes to manifesting.
Yeah, and I've been doing that every month. Like I'll make I call it my mood board, you know, like for the month. And I'll do that. I'll put pictures. I like to get on Pinterest, like especially like if I feel myself in a low vibe, I will. The easiest thing for me to whip out my phone, I get on Pinterest. I just look at like positive affirmations or like pictures of vacations maybe that I want to go to, you know, or financial, you know, goals that I want to have, how I want to feel. And that's what I do. And I don't try to make sense of it. I'm just like, ooh, pretty flowers, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at pretty flowers, you're probably not manifesting like you want that bouquet, but it's the way it makes you feel.
Yes.
You know, the energy of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's great. Okay, we are going to move into a couple of really big aspects of your chart that are basically life themes that the universe has decided that you are going to be mastering this in this lifetime. This is going to be a challenge, but also a gift, both in one for you. And who knows if it's the universe that decided it or if you decided it before you came into the world. It doesn't really matter, but big life themes for you. So one of them is called pulling yourself up. So you are here to learn and to master the ability to kind of pull yourself up in situations. And that comes from two different qualities that you have. One is the drive to provide for yourself. So either financially, emotionally, whatever it is, you are here to actually master that skill to provide for yourself. And you have the ability to do that. Yeah. And then the other aspect is the fear of failure. But you can also, anytime when we talk about fear, you can also replace that word with awareness or intuition. So you are super, super intuitive. I'm not sure if you know that, you probably do, but you're like almost totally defined and solid in like the intuitive center on your chart, which means like, I don't know if you know that you're psychic, but you are, or you can be if you develop that skill. You just have very, very strong intuition. But that also means that you can go into fear very easily, because when you know how something could go, you know how it could go badly. So that means if you're not just open to the intuition of it, you can instantly contract and feel afraid of the possibilities. So in this case, you could have fear of failure, but you could also just have awareness and say, no, I know how this could go wrong, and so I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to go this way because I'm aware of how something could fail. And then that, combined with that drive to provide for yourself, gives you this strong ability to pull yourself up, to raise yourself up and be your own biggest cheerleader. Does that resonate with you?
That totally makes sense. Kind of like my last marriage. It wasn't a bad thing, but it was kind of like, I know how this can go wrong, but I'm going to do it anyways because I want the experience, and I regret nothing. But I totally get it. When I was younger and less self-aware of my gifts and abilities and just the way that I was, that fear would breed inaction, totally stifled so many ways. And now I'm aware of it, and sometimes it may, make me stop or slow down before I do something. But now it's just like, I know that I am the only person that I need, and I know that I'm always okay. So I fear less. And like, as far as knowing things, like, I know I'm clairsentient and like clairvoyant. Like, I just know, or claircognizant, not clairvoyant. I just know things and I can feel things. Like, those are probably the two, biggest gifts that I have spent time embracing, I guess I would, could say.
Yeah. Well, and in your chart, your strongest sense is feeling. And so, going into how something feels, not emotionally, because remember, you're not supposed to be making emotional decisions or really going with the emotions. But if you start feeling this, how do I want to explain it? You're with somebody and you can just feel, something about them, it's probably true.
It's like when I go to the store, like I can feel like the vibe that people are in, or even it's like I can see things maybe that's going on in their life, whether I know or not. Like, it's just something that pops. At the gym, I wear my headphones a lot, and people may think I'm being antisocial, but it's just in the early mornings, that's when I get like a lot of just messages and signs. So it's like I have to somehow put like blinders on to quiet things. Yes. So I'm not being antisocial, I swear. It's just my weirdisms.
Well, let's actually just reframe that for a second, because actually you are being antisocial, but that's not bad, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not because you don't like somebody or you hate people. It's just because you actually do need to be like only with you in that moment in order to thrive and to receive your information and to have inspiration and have your energy build up.
Yep. I like that.
Notice when you keep saying, I'm not being antisocial, you actually are, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, from a good place. It's a place of like self-loving, not that I hate other people.
Yeah, and there's just kind of a stigma in the world that being antisocial is something negative, which it's just not. Lots of people need to have non-social time when they are with themselves, and that's really great. It's a safe place to be for a lot of people, and it's a good thing. So just notice if you catch yourself feeling bad about that, that's probably some leftover conditioning going on.
Right, totally right.
Yeah. Okay, another big gift that you have is trusting spontaneity to become more effective. So this again comes from two aspects of yourself, and one is that you have a super magnetic charisma, and two, you have fear of the future or awareness of the future, instincts about the future. So when you combine those two, the magnetic charisma and the awareness of the future, that makes you somebody who's able to use instincts and spontaneity rather than a big strategy and a huge plan, and you're going to go like step 1, step 2, step 3 and have life planned out. You're way better at just deciding, this is what we're doing, let's just do it and figure it out as we go.
Yep, it's my random like road trips. People would be like, "You're going where? And you decided this an hour ago?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I just felt like going to Nashville," or "Yeah, I just felt like going here." Like, you just go do it.
Yeah. And so any kind of conditioning, which it sounds like maybe you don't really have this at least anymore, but just be aware if you ever catch yourself thinking about pre-planning something like where can I or how can I plan this all out, that's not going to work for you.
No.
So nope, none of that.
It never does when I do that.
Yeah. Okay, your next big gift here is applying your skills with enthusiasm and dedication. So this comes from, again, another fear or an awareness of yours, which is the fear of inadequacy, or sensing when something is really incomplete. You have that sense, that awareness. And then also your natural talent shared with enthusiasm. So it's pretty obvious, even just somebody watching you on Instagram, that you have a lot of enthusiasm going on, and you're really able to like spread that and spread like the excitement of something. And so that's what you're here to do, is apply your skills with enthusiasm and dedication. How does that sound for you?
Oh, perfect. Like, I can't force myself to do things. Just like social media, people have asked, "Do you plan your posts?" And I'm like, nope. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, whatever message I feel like sharing or whatever messages I get from you guys on here and I feel like writing about it, that's what I do. I just roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly.
Have to do what feels good in the moment.
Yeah. So just beware, anytime that you're questioning yourself a lot, you're probably going out of alignment, and you are struggling with this little like life lesson of yours about just letting go of the questioning.
Mm-hmm. Or even if I start something and I may get, partly into it and I'm just like, I don't like doing this anymore. I just stop doing it. Like, I don't make myself finish things anymore. I'll just
Perfect. Stop. That's your manifesting generator quality, where you've already moved through that thing and you already know, I'm done with that and it's time to move on. Mm-hmm. And being a quitter is not a word for you. It's just that you know when it's time to move on from a thing.
Yep. Put things on pause, or I'm like, maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I won't. On to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, another gift. We have 2 more to go through. One of them is turning your ideas into fables. So I think this one is super, super interesting. It embodies 2 different qualities that you have. And one is sharing your take on the facts of life. Mm-hmm. And another one is receiving ideas. So you have this really unique ability to share your knowledge in a non-logical way. It's a non-textbook, non-science way. Even if you have the ability to talk science or talk textbook, you have the ability to share knowledge that you just have from wherever in more of a story form and in more of a expressive way.
I always say, storyteller of life lessons. That's what I do.
Yeah. Yep. And some people might have their buttons pushed when you do this, because you aren't always, sharing the studies and showing the facts and talking the science or talking the, all that stuff. That's for other people. Mm-hmm. And those things clearly are a part of your life, but you're not here to verbally talk about all that stuff. You're here to share the story of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That totally resonates.
Cool. Yeah, my husband has that one too, and he's a scientist, so it always just makes me laugh when he's talking, because he's very knowledgeable about science and all the facts and everything, but he talks in stories as well.
Yes, I'm just like, why don't, because y'all second guess yourself, especially with social media, like, oh, I need to post all these like facts, and I'm like, but that's boring to me. Like, I know it, and it's science and it's proof, but I want to put it in a way that makes somebody feel something, so they apply it to their own life. I feel like that's more applicable. So totally makes sense.
Cool. Okay, one more big life lesson, life theme for you is knowing what needs to be done to have money.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So, one, you have a natural instinct for how to control things. And two, you have the ability to direct people. So, those combined, it's not just all about money, it's more about resources. You know what needs to be done to have the resources. Money could be part of it, but it's really about just what we need to have this thing happen. So you're a really good person to be in like a leader or a director position when it comes to making something happen.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Good to know.
Everybody. Yeah. Yeah. So just, maybe play with that in your life. Maybe that's one that you haven't really been feeling or noticing, but notice like, where are you good at directing people and having like the situation work out because of your guidance?
Because here, I'd say probably in the last year, I've just felt like I was a good connection maker, just like, hey, let me introduce you to this person. So maybe that's kind of along those lines, or, I'll just go through phases where I'm like, oh, I can pick up these extra hours at work, kind of like fit the puzzle pieces. Like it always works out. Like I always have enough or more than enough money for things. Like it's weird. So that really resonates and it makes a lot more sense.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. So maybe see, like you've been doing that for yourself really well all this time, but notice how you actually have the ability to do that for other people too. And you're starting to put those pieces together.
Yeah. Cause like ultimately, that's why I want to have, money is not a bad thing. Like it's a tool and it's a vessel. Like I want to have enough money that I can just give people like whatever and not even have to worry, nobody has to have that traumatic, like negative money story. Cause a lot of us do growing up, like that's what it's all about. Serving other people, helping other people. So that makes me really excited.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to go through a couple of your energy centers. I don't know if you've probably looked at your chart, but when you're looking at it, there's all those shapes like squares and triangles. There's a diamond, and they're either colored or not. So we're going to kind of quickly fly through a few of these, just sort of some fun facts about you. One, when we're looking at the root center, that's the square that's at the bottom. Yours is defined, and so that means you are meant to be able to handle high pressure really well. And some people don't do pressure, you can, but it's also easy to have kind of a codependent quality with it and be addicted to pressure or addicted to the feeling of pressure. That's not going to be good for you, but you can handle pressure just fine.
Okay, good. Yep. Good to know.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Things.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. It cut out.
Oh, I have the bad habit of taking on too many things like at one time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, your next one is your solar plexus center, and yours is undefined. So it's like a white triangle, not a colored one. And that means that you are a non-emotional person. And it's not what it sounds like. It's kind of a dumb word, I think. But it basically means that you really are affected by other people's emotions. But when you're by yourself, you're pretty cool, calm, and collected. Like you're pretty steady, or you really know how you feel. You're not wondering, why do I feel this way? Your emotions are truly yours when you're by yourself. And it's most of the time it's steady. But when you're around anybody else, you have to be aware not to be affected by what they're feeling, or you need to not blow their emotions out of proportion, thinking that somebody is really mad when they're only a little bit mad, or thinking that you have to make somebody really, really happy. None of that is going to be good for you, but just beware you are going to be picking up on people's emotions.
Very empathetic. And it all goes back to be by myself a lot.
Yes, for sure. Okay, you're also sacral defined, so your sacral center is defined, and we've talked a lot about that because that's an aspect of being a manifesting generator. But what that essentially means is that you create energy by doing what you love. So we don't have to talk more about that. We spent the whole first part of it on that one. And then your spleen is defined, but like really defined. And that means that you are super intuitive, super psychic, and can go into fear easily. So we talked about that one quite a bit already as well, but that comes from the splenic center. And then your ego center is also defined, and that means that you have steady motivation and willpower. It doesn't go like this. You're always the same amount of motivated. It doesn't mean you have high or low motivation. It just means you don't have a problem with motivation. It's always the same, yep. And it doesn't really go up and down.
Very routine. Yep. Success habits. Yep.
Yep.
Very regimented.
Yeah. And then your G center is open. So that means you're a very adaptable person. You can adapt to different situations if you need to. You are pretty flexible, although you know what you need and you know what's right for you. But you can kind of morph or be a chameleon in different environments. You aren't like really rigid on how you are personality wise.
Yeah, it's like, you know how to adapt to the energy of a room. Like, I know when I have to be very polished, and I know when I can just be me and be silly and ridiculous. So yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then your throat center is defined, and that means that it is critical that you're speaking your truth verbally.
Like, I'm
doing that. It's really obvious.
Like, if I have to get something out or tell somebody something, or do a social media post, like, I have to get it out, or like I get frustrated and I physically hurt. So that made a lot of sense when I learned about that aspect of my chart.
Yeah. When I first learned about human design, it shocked me that a lot of people actually don't have this, and it's best that they don't speak their truth. Like, I was like, what? Why? Like, everybody should speak their truth. And I learned, like, no, actually, some people, not you and I, but some people shouldn't be speaking their truth. And the more people that I've met that have that aspect of their chart, they all are like, oh, thank God, I don't have to say what I feel. And they love it. And I can't relate at all, but I guess it's true. Some people, actually, it's best for everybody that they don't talk about how they feel.
That's the beauty, how we're all different.
I know. So that was one of the most surprising things to me when I first learned about all this. But back to you, your Ajna center, this is the second to last one, your Ajna center is also defined. So you came to this lifetime with a very specific point of view and specific opinions that are important for you to share. But this also makes it difficult for you to reprogram your thoughts. So if you have limiting beliefs, it will take more effort for you to change those. It's not impossible, but you can't just decide right this second you have a new perspective and you're just going to think differently. You might have to use affirmations or really work at it. And then once it sticks, it's very stuck.
Oh, I do. Like I've said, like, I'm a late bloomer. I admit it. I'm 40 and I just now like feel like I know myself really well, and I'm 40 years old. So all of you other late bloomers out there, it's okay. There's hope for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But also know that what you think and your perspective is a part of why you're here. You're supposed to share that with people. So that's good that you're already doing that. I mean, at least from what I can see. I don't know if there's more inside that needs to come out, anything that's been held back, but you are here to share your point of view.
Yep. Oh, but I'm sure, like, stay tuned. My life is never boring.
Yeah. And then your last one here, your crown center is wide open, 100% undefined. And that makes you, that a couple things. One, easy to receive downloads. You already know that about yourself. Two, you need to be around other people to receive inspiration. So it doesn't mean you have to chit chat with them or talk, but like I've noticed in the mornings, you like to go work out at the gym. Mm-hmm. Or wherever you're going, there's people there. It's not alone in your house, mm-hmm. but you're not talking to everybody, or it looks like you're kind of in your zone. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a really, really good situation for you to receive inspiration, because you have to be around other people's auras to get inspiration. You don't get inspiration alone by yourself.
Nope. I do much better when I go to a gym in the morning and I'm at least around other people. I just feel more at peace. And like you said, I feel like I get more messages come to me easily. It's kind of hard to like articulate like how it feels, but I know when I need to like just go walk by myself, like when I'm feeling like my body's worn out. But no, most of the time, man, I'm so much happier if I go to the gym somewhere. And that's why I tell people, go to group classes. If you're somebody that you need to be like accountable or be around people,
Mm-hmm.
like, go to a group class, go to a gym, get yourself out of your environment.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, totally. So that's everything that I wanted to go over with your chart. Of course, there's actually way more to it. We could talk for like 10 hours straight and go into every single detail. So maybe we could do another one sometime in the future. But do you have any last questions or something that you are hoping to learn about or anything to follow up with?
Nope, I'd say you nailed everything. Like super informative. Absolutely loved it. I appreciate you asking me to do this. This was a wonderful experience. And I hope you
Oh, I'm so glad.
here. Like really, don't be afraid of this stuff. Or, some people think, oh, it's just woo-woo. It doesn't mean anything. Like just be open-minded and try it out. You guys will be amazed what you'll learn about yourself.
Yeah, I haven't come across one person yet that doesn't align with their chart or isn't like, wow, this is so affirming.
It is.
Whether the person is spiritual or not, it's really interesting because human design was actually channeled or whatever, brought in by this guy who doesn't believe in God, not spiritual at all. And it really isn't. It actually is quite a bit about math. And it doesn't have to be spiritual.
Yeah. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful tool to just bring more love and abundance and happiness into your life.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me today, Katie.
Appreciate you asking me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thanks who joined us today.
Yeah, I saw a lot of fun comments going on in there. And anybody who needs help finding their chart, just reach out and I'll point you in the right direction. So have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too. Off to work I go.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.